Hello everybody, welcome to Venus and Retro Tarot. My name is Brandy and today I'm going to be doing my first ever unboxing video and deck review. So I'm doing the Deep, Dark, and Dangerous Oracle by Stacey Demarco. It's a newer deck. I believe it came out just a few weeks ago and I got it on Amazon for about $22, so it wasn't that expensive at all. And I do have one or two other decks by her. I really love the Elemental Oracle, so I'm excited to see what's going on with this. Now, I already took all of the plastic and stuff off of it because I didn't want to spend time doing that on camera. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at it. Jump right in. Like the boxing is really, really nice. And it's by Rockpool Oracle, if you can see that, which I really, really like their decks. I have a lot by this deck producer, and they tend to be really good quality. So we'll see what's going on the inside. But let's look at the back. It says there's great beauty and power in darkness. And that was one of the things that really attracted me to this deck, because for some of the heavier theme readings that I want to do on this channel, and then that I do for myself as well, it felt like this oracle would really serve that purpose well. So it says, what if by stepping into the realm of the monsters and the things that go bump in the night, what seems twisted and dangerous is actually a torch leading us out of the darkness into divine wholeness. From the iconic Medusa to mermaids, Valkyries, and vampires, Selkies and Sibyls, find your truth in the deep, the dark, and the dangerous. This deck includes stunning images of the world's deep creatures, dark goddesses and gods, and dangerous heroes and shadows. Okay, so, and it's 44 cards, and it has a guidebook. So let's go ahead and open it up. And very nice on the inside. I love me some snake imagery. And the guidebook looks pretty standard guidebook. We'll look at it. Let's take a look. See. So far, I mean, like, I know a lot of these decks are super glossy, and that kind of annoys me for shooting on camera. I mean, for reading for myself, it's not that big a deal, but I mean, if you can see, like, my ring light glares off of it. But you know, nothing's perfect, right? But the colors are really vibrant and beautiful. I mean, we'll go through each card one by one. You know, and it's got red gilded edges. I love gilded edges. Not too thrilled about there like being chipping there, which I noticed when I took the little wrap off, which, you know, I didn't ding it or anything, and that was already damaged. So already not loving that, but you know, I tend to be kind of a rough shuffler, so I'm not going to be too worried about that. But that's something that, you know, would have annoyed me when I was newer to reading, because like I'm a Virgo rising and I like my things to be immaculate, and you know, I have Taurus in my chart, but you know, that's something that you may want to consider. You know, if the box was pretty nice, but that must have happened in the factory. So let's go ahead and look at the guidebook. See what's in here. Love that it's got a table of contents. Not every guidebook for oracle decks does. Some of them are out of order. There's an introduction to it, and then there's a explanation of how each card is structured. Okay, that's good for those that are newer to reading oracle cards, and then how to use the cards. There's information on 1-card spreads, 3-card spreads. There's an elemental spread, and then a 7-card spread. So that's really cool. And then information about timing and dedicating and blessing your cards. So that's really good. And then it goes into each card. So there's the basic description, and it looks like there's like a little poem for each one, and then more of a deeper description at the second part. And then here, plant companion and crystal companion. Okay, so each card has a correspondence with a plant and a crystal. So, you know, depending on if you do any like spell work, or, you know, you put them on your altar with setting certain intentions, that's really helpful. I like that. Yeah, so, okay. Not every single one has a poem. I guess that one does. So, yeah, that's really cool. And in the second half of this reading, after we look at the cards, I'm going to do a little mini tarot, a little oracle reading, pull a couple cards to get like the energy of the deck. So let's go ahead and look at the cards. And what I'm going to do really quickly is kind of zoom my camera in so that you you guys can see each card up close. So give me 1 second. So here's card, there we go, card 1. And oh, okay, so it looks like they have them split up. Let me see, let me go through. So we have deep, yeah, so like we have deep here, where's, okay, and then dark. Okay, so there are categories to these cards, yeah, and dangerous. So just like the, let's look at the card box. So there's, the oracle cards are split up into 3 categories, deep, dark, and dangerous. So we'll take another look at the book after we go through each of the cards so you can kind of see what the differences are. So these are the deep cards. The first one is depth, shadow. Let me make sure it's in frame. Very nice. And then we have freedom, selkie. Let me just angle it down so that glare isn't there. And kraken, mystery. Very nice. I love the octopus. Dragon, treasure. It's very nice. And then we have kelpie. It's different than selkie. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna have to look at the guidebook to learn some of these differences, because you know I don't know all of these. But there's hell, acceptance, and I like that. She's one of the darker goddesses. Hades, the underworld. This is Scylla, resilience. So yeah, like all kinds of themes. Like these could be themes in your life or someone else's life. You know, it's really nice because maybe you could pull, like, you know, if there's are themes coming up where you're having conflict with another person, like what's happening with them, what's happening with you, you know. So, you know, if they're going through an underworld moment and, you know, you're learning about resilience, I could see, you know, how these themes would be really nice in an oracle deck. Yeah. And then Cerberus, guardians. Yeah. And, ooh, I don't want to butcher that. Guna Kadit, blessings. I'm going to have to learn these because I never want to, like, butcher or sully anybody else's culture. Hydra, regeneration. Okay, getting some of that death energy of, like, regeneration. Love that. And let's see. Puke. Sorry, I'm going to have to learn these. Fear. And I love that representation, indigenous representation. Sybil, foresight, very nice. Mermaid, beauty. Oh, I have such a connection to mermaids. I love this card. Mithras, I think, loyalty, very nice. And Persephone, the journey. Oh, that's really nice for like the journey into the underworld. And then there was the, I think the Hades card back there that we went through. Very cool. And then we have Minotaur, sorry, why did I say it like that? Compassion. Here, let me zoom this camera out really quick because it looks like it's a little bit too close. There, okay. And let's see, Charon or Charon, reciprocity. And Nyx, darkness. I love that. I have a cat named Nyx. He's a boy, but I love that. I named him after a goddess because I was like, you know what, you're my baby. And then let's see. Oh, okay. Now we've switched over from deep, these from Charon, Nyx into dark. Okay, so Hypnos is rest, and Hecate is illumination. Love that. And let's see, Mormolokia, I hope I said that right, service. Love the wolf imagery, and it looks like the flames are like coming off of the wolf. That's so cool. And Circe, alchemy. Very nice. Kali, love, yes. And I love Kali Ma. Like, she's not a goddess to necessarily be feared. I mean, unless you're fucking up, but you know, she is all about, you know, that love and protection. Here we go, respect, Anubis. And the Morrigan, sovereignty. And I can't wait to get into the book and like read all of these. Lemur. I know this is in relation to Lemuria, I think. Loneliness. And I love like that ghostly imagery. That's so cool. Okay, and now we've switched over into the dangerous category at card 28. Okay, so it's like roughly, you know, 15 cards for each category. Hunger for vampire. Love that. So it's like, you know, stay away from this person. They might try to like feed off of you, suck your energy dry. Change, werewolf. Okay. All right. This is where, okay, this is the first representation, I believe, of a black man or black men in this deck. And I'm not sure that I'm liking that it's in the dangerous category. You know, and that's just speaking from my experience as a black woman. I'm not sure if, you know, I'm sure it was unintentional, but that doesn't really like matter. Intent and impact are two different things. Like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to pause here because this to me, like, I'm pretty sure, like, I don't remember any cards in here like having, there were black women presented, but like no black men. Yeah, because even in Anubis, this person is masked, like, who knows, but I'm sorry, that kind of rubs me the wrong way. Like, you know, especially being that, like, you know, there are different cultures representing, you know, all different things. Like, if that's the first black man you're seeing in a deck in a dangerous category, that, I don't know, that doesn't really sit right with me. Yeah, so that's definitely, you know, a criticism. I don't feel like I like that, but, I mean, it does say discipline, but, you know, being in the dangerous category, like, I'm not really, like, vibing with that. And then we have Arena's Vengeance, Chimera Synergy. I like that. Grief Banshee. Ooh, Jormungandr, Midgard Serpent. Okay, Cycles. All right, that kind of soured me on this deck. All right, Chaos Harpy. Focus, Kate Sith. Mirror, Fetch. It's very interesting. Okay, and then we have Kusith, Focus. Sheila Nagig, Boundary. All right, she looks like a Baba Yaga type figure. Ooh, Sinks, Gratification. Okay, that's two red flags for me in this deck. Because this is Egyptian imagery and this woman is obviously white. And I know that, you know, Egyptians are North African. There's a lot of like complications and, you know, like the Macedonians and Greeks and, you know, I don't know all the history, but I just feel like this should be a person of color in this picture. The fact that she's white, like, I don't know about that to me. Like, that just seems a little problematic. It seems like, you know, were there any people of color in the room to say, like, maybe not? Okay, Eos C, Disconnection. Valkyrie, Choice. I don't know, this one might be going back, y'all. Injustice, Medusa. And lastly, Puka, Mischief. So, I mean, overall, I like the cards, but, you know, that to me, those two cards to me kind of like, I don't know, they kind of speak to an attitude. I mean, I could be seeing that wrong. Y'all let me know in the comments what you think. But to me, that just seems like those cards, at the very least, should be addressed or redone or something. Like, I mean, let's see in the guidebook, like, okay, talks about the categories here. It says the list of cards is roughly divided into the categories of deep and dark and dangerous, although plenty of the subjects are all three. Okay. All right. Okay, well, just for your interest though, I have defined deep as entities of either the deep sea, all right, the deep unconscious, or deep environments. Dark is those subjects whose realm is the dark places or the night itself, all right? And finally, dangerous is for those entities that are indeed often out to get us. See, and that's where the problem comes for me with there being a, you know, a card with obviously a black man depicted in, you know, dangerous for those entities that are indeed often out to get us. They're frightening and often deadly if we do not pay heed. That's a no for me. I hope you allow yourself to do the work of the beautiful shadow, and that the guidance and wisdom you receive is like a torch illuminating your path. Okay, well, I mean, that to me, like, I don't really vibe with that, but I mean, we'll see. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna shuffle. I mean, cards feel good. I guess I should have done that ahead of time. Like the cardstock is thick. It's pretty standard for these type of decks, but shuffle well, bridge well. Let's see what this deck has to say. Okay. Call forth the energy of spirit. I call on the essence and energy of this deck. Introduce yourself, please. What would you like to say about yourself? And what are your strengths and weaknesses? 3 cards, please. Okay. Please introduce yourself. Got on the back of the deck. Loneliness. All right. And let's see. Reciprocity, synergy, and choice. Okay. All right. Well, let's read reciprocity. Okay, that's card 18. Charon. All right. It says, you must find balance in acts of giving and receiving. Okay, much like the lovers. In all ways, but in particular in your give and take with the earth, you must learn to reciprocate. Duality, giving, receiving, acceptance, rejection. When someone died in ancient Greece or Rome, a coin was placed either in the mouth of the dead or upon their eyes. This was an important part of the ritual of death, because without coins, the recently departed could not pay the ferryman. Charon was the ferryman of Hades, the son of Erebus and Nyx. His responsibility was to ferry the souls of the dead over the rivers of death, and so he is what is called a psychopomp, a guide of the dead. The 2 rivers he worked were the Styx and sometimes the Acheron, the river of sorrow. These rivers separated the worlds of the dead and the living, so it was important that the newly dead were able to journey across safely. Also, Charon ensured that no dead traveled back the other way. Okay. Charon was also responsible for ferrying certain heroes and gods who were alive, and to ask within the underworld, and had a task within the underworld, excuse me. For example, Odysseus, Orpheus, Heracles, Dionysus, and Sisyphus all were ferried by Charon, but were not dead. This was an inherently dangerous journey for the living with so many perils, including falling, I cannot read today, including falling into the waters themselves. Okay, that's another criticism I have of this deck, is that, yeah, the background is very like distracting. The snake print, it's cute and all, but it's very hard to read through. So that's another thing that you may want to pay attention to. The river Styx itself was highly magical and deadly and lethal to new souls and people who were alive. If anyone bathes in the Styx and survives, everywhere the water touches on that person becomes invulnerable. This is how Achilles became almost immortal after his mother dipped him in the Styx, all except the heel that she held him by. This small exclusion was his downfall, and he was shot by an arrow on that spot. What happened if the ferryman wasn't paid? Some myths say that the souls were left wandering indefinitely, but most suggest there was a 100-year penalty until the soul could come to Charon and be taken across into the realm of the dead. The act of reciprocity, the payment for Charon's labor and care, became an important act in the respectful care of the dead. Okay, so It seems to me, yeah, like, it's funny that I said earlier about like having like relationship readings, or like seeing where like you can balance out, like if you're having conflict with somebody, like where you're at and where they're at, because that's basically how the deck is introducing itself. You know, and then it's like very similar theme between all three of these cards: reciprocity, synergy, and choice. You know, because choice is another, you know, name for what the Lovers was before that tarot card became the Lovers. It was called choice. And synergy is all about like working together and, you know, coming to an understanding where like two different forces can kind of work together. You know, Chimera, you see where it's like this, is that a goat or a ram? I'm not sure. And then there's a snake here and a lion. It's like three different entities, three different beings working together, you know, for good or for ill, but, you know, coming together to do their thing. Yeah, so to me, this speaks to this deck really wants to be used to kind of work out those difficulties in relationships. So, I mean, I'm going to have to sit with it, see how I feel about it. And, you know, maybe I can cleanse and bless maybe those two cards. I might possibly just take them out and not work with them and just ask the deck to tell me what I need to know in the absence of having those two cards in here. But I'm definitely going to write a review on Amazon about that. And, you know, drop me a comment, you know, thumbs up or thumbs down, you know, letting me know whether like you vibe with those two cards. And, you know, because maybe I'm just like tripping, I'm not sure. But that's what I have for you for Deep, Dark, and Dangerous. Like, I really like the vibe of this deck, other than, you know, what I criticized, but the imagery is nice. The feel of the cards is nice. The guidebook is very informative, but I would definitely like for them to, the pages to be plain. Definitely going to play around with it more, but, you know, just, these are my thoughts on it. But thank you so much for joining me. I'd love it if you like this video, you subscribe to the channel. I'll be posting regular content very soon. And thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.